help it. From sexist life coaches teaching you how to seduce a woman to using a Walkman as a viable weapon against a cephalopod, we look at 15 amazing scenes inexplicably cut from famous movies. Number 15. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Pig's Head. Our favorite film for listing things that shouldn't be in a kid's movie makes it here again with this deleted scene. It starts with the weasels torturing Eddie and throwing him out of Toontown wearing an animated pig's head. This forces him to take a turpentine shower to dissolve the offending headgear, which then turns to us seeing a pig's face dissolve in the bath with nothing left but eyeballs in the drain. The only way this could have been more disturbing for pig lovers is if it were Porky Pig's head getting melted off. That being said, it was an awesome piece of animated violence that should have been left in. Number 14. Magnolia. More TJ. That's right, there was even more of Tom Cruise's most disturbing role put to screen that was left out of the final cut. In the film, Cruise plays TJ, a sexist, sort of motivational speaker who tells men to make women respect the cock. The character is played with an even mix of intensity and ridiculousness, which really makes a scene where he explains that you need a sob story to seduce women. Not saying TJ is someone you need to look up to, but he's definitely the most interesting part of Magnolia, and his onstage ego trip's hilarious to watch. Number 13. X-Men First Class. Dragnito. Oh yeah, here we come to some sexy time scenes with the sexiest thing ever done for an X-Men film since putting Jennifer Lawrence in blue latex. That's right, it's putting Michael Fassbender in a dress. But what's the reason for Magneto's sudden desire to become a cross-dresser? Well, it turns out that it's a delusion that Charles puts into people's heads because he's a cheeky bastard. Surely this is the real reason the two became enemies. Then again, maybe Charles was picking up on some of Magneto's repressed feelings. I want to destroy all of humanity, Charles, but first I want to look real pretty. Number 12. Return of the Jedi. Luke builds his lightsaber. Ever wonder how Luke got that sick green lightsaber between Empire and Jedi? Well, millions of Star Wars fans, this scene has the answer. And it's pretty anticlimactic. Luke just built it in a cave on Tatooine before he went to face Jabba the Hutt. Still, the scene helps build Luke as the badass Jedi he became. Earlier, he could barely use a lightsaber against a floating ball, and now he's building the things. Never thought I'd see the day when I'd want Lucas to actually put something into the original trilogy. Number 11. Superman Returns Krypton. Poor Brandon Ruth, being a dead ringer for Christopher Reeve and being stuck in a film less enjoyable than Superman 3, but this scene would have helped. Showing exactly where Supes had been for X amount of years, we see him exploring an exploded dead Krypton in a sequence that seems more at home in a sci-fi horror film than a Superman film. Full of mood and tension, the scene is more immersive and effective than anything left in the final cut, leaving us scratching our heads over why this was cut, but the shot of Luthor's wig collection stays in. Number 10. The Terminator, Cyberdyne reveal. Alright, so the Terminator is full of grandfather paradoxes, but this scene would have shown us how Skynet was born. It turns out that the factory where the T-800 gets turned into a pancake wasn't any ordinary robotics factory, it was a Cyberdyne factory. Shock and horror, the Terminators created themselves. Also, if they succeeded in killing Sarah Connor, they would have never existed. Makes you think, though this is pretty well explained in Terminator 2, would have capped off the fantastic undertones of the original film perfectly. Also, Skynet sucks at time travel. Why do they keep going back in periods of time to where these people can fight back? Just send a Terminator back when Sarah Connor was a baby, snatch her out of her mom's hands, and spike her on the ground like a football. Game over. That'd be a pretty short movie though, wouldn't it? They'd have to change the name too, like Robo Baby Spikers or something. Number 9. Natural Born Killers. Pencil. This ultra-violent film for the messed up minds of Oliver Stone and Quentin Tarantino featured a fair amount of cuts. The one that probably should have stayed was seeing Ashley Judd get stabbed in the heart by Woody Harrelson with a goddamn pencil, in the middle of a courtroom no less. Considering how crazy the rest of the film is, there's no reason for that to be left on the cutting room floor. And what is it with movies thinking pencils are great stabbing weapons? Last I remember, my 2B used to snap with just a light breeze. Number 8. The Goonies, Giant Octopus. Who doesn't love the Goonies for its 1980s cheese? It definitely could have used a very fake-looking giant octopus attack. The scene is pretty short, and the giant creature is somehow defeated by a Walkman, but who cares? That should have stayed in so we didn't all have to wonder what the hell Data was talking about at the end when he tells reporters that the octopus was scary. But seriously, do octopi have an allergy to Walkmans I'm not aware of? I need this question answered. I have an octopus fight coming up. Number 7. Twin Peaks, Firewalk with Me, the epilogue. End your TV show on a cliffhanger, then not address it at all in the follow-up movie? Jeez, no wonder people were disappointed. But if this scene stayed in, it might have tantalized fans just enough to get them to actually go see the film. Instead, the omission makes it seem like Lynch had no intention of giving fans any resolution whatsoever. There's a reason they made a big deal when these deleted scenes were finally released to the public recently. Lynch certainly knows how to keep the suspense going even over a 25-year-old cliffhanger. Number 6. Alien. Egg transformation. So despite Alien being terrifying, we never see what the creature was intending to do with the crew. Well, this deleted scene tells you. Turns out the original idea for the xenomorph life cycle included turning people into the eggs that created the facehuggers. The scene shows Ripley finding the crew mid-transformation where she does the only sane thing possible and burns them. Forget all that Queen bullshit, this is the real terrifying way to be killed by an unknown death machine, helping them give birth to the next wave of outer space killers. Number 5. Lethal Weapon, Sniper Takedown. Oh, the days when Mel Gibson was a badass who could fight road gangs and be a crazy buddy cop character. This gem of a scene shows old Melly taking down an entrenched sniper by essentially walking through the line of fire and emptying a whole clip into him. Riggs is really a psycho at this point. But hey, at least it was restored in the director's cut, so you can enjoy pre-crisis Mel Gibson before that terrible incident. Oh, why did you have to make What Women Want, Mel? Number 4. Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, Saruman's Death. So remember that bad guy's been doing all this stuff for 2 films and raising an army? Well, just forget about showing what happens to him and walk right along. Do-ba-ba-do, we can't fit it in the film, so just ignore it. That's how the theatrical cut treats poor Saruman, not showing the confrontation that involves him being stabbed in the back and falling off his tower to be impaled at the bottom. I mean, who wants to see that, right? Talk about a bad day, stabbed, impaled, and cut from the film. Someone must have really had it out for Christopher Lee. Number 3. In Bruges, Samurai Time Lord. Want to see the 11th Doctor chop a policeman's head off with a sword while donning an awesome 70s haircut? Well, fuck you, you can't. Thanks, dickhead editor, for dropping this fantastically radalicious bit of violence from the final film. You really helped the film out by robbing us of seeing just how crazy the character is. Then again, maybe it was at Matt Smith's request that he shouldn't be in the film because he wouldn't be able to make the catchphrase "swords are cool" work. Number 2. Kill Bill Volume 2, Bill's Skills. Remember how Kill Bill Volume 1 was full of action and Volume 2 featured a fuck ton of talking and no sword decapitations? Well, this scene would have fixed some of your complaints. In this cut material, we see Bill and the bride walking through some streets when Black Dynamite shows up to confront Bill for killing his master. The ensuing battle is cheesy and blood-filled in the best kind of way. This builds Bill up as even more of a badass, leaving you incredibly angry that Tarantino decided to cut it out. Number 1. Terminator 2, Every Cut. Yep, everything in this film is pure and should never have been taken out, especially when it involves Robert Patrick. Scenes left out of the original cut had Arnold's head being cut open to get at his CPU and turn off a switch that stopped him from learning, and the T-1000 feeling up things in John's room to help him track down the future resistance leader. Well, maybe not everything should have been left in. That happy future scene should have been burned. Most of these trims and cuts have been restored in the 80,000 director's cuts Cameron has put out, but now we know why Arnold was able to learn his "Hasta la vista, baby" catchphrase. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.